Cháu rất cảm ơn cô chú, ông bà, anh chị đến đây hôm nay ủng hộ cho cháu. Cảm ơn nhiều. And thank you to all of you for coming today, coming out and showing your support. The overwhelming amount of love and support that I've received today and this whole journey over the last few months as I started this has been just absolutely incredible. Senator Escamilla is absolutely right. This was not something that I just woke up one day and said, hey, that would be fun. Senator Escamilla was the one who actually, years ago, put me on this political trajectory when she said to me, you know, Hong, you should really consider running for the office. So here we are today. All of my family, neighbors, all gathered here to start this journey with me. A journey that for my parents, in their wildest dreams, could have never imagined for their daughter when they escaped from Vietnam over 40 years ago, seeking political asylum here in the US. When I'm out and sharing my story with people and hearing their stories, oftentimes they will say to me, your family story is the ultimate American dream, which is really kind of them to say that. But honestly, for us, for my family, it's always been about survival, about taking care of one another. When we first arrived to California, to the US in 1983, my mom worked as a seamstress and a dishwasher. My dad had a paper route in the morning. He cut grass and did handyman work in the afternoon. And in the evenings, he went to the local community college to learn to be a mechanic. All of this to support their 7 kids. We watched and learned firsthand what sacrifice and hard work really meant. When my dad was killed a few years later during an armed robbery, only 4 years after we had arrived in the US, it set my family into a whole new meaning of doing whatever it takes. We moved to Utah for a better life and a better opportunity. My mom started working 18-hour days. My oldest sister, Mai, became our second mom. We worked really hard to go and make sure that we were staying together and surviving. I was so lucky to be one of the youngest siblings in the family, where my oldest siblings had to all grow up so quickly to help raise us. The women in my life taught me everything that I know. They taught me that women are strong, are capable of doing hard things, even when those things seem absolutely impossible to do. They always somehow figure it out. I remember when I was young, one of the things that was almost nearly impossible for my mom to do was to pass her citizenship test. My mom didn't read, write, or speak English very well. But after her long days of working at the restaurant, she'd come home late at night and she would spend hours and hours studying. Leanne and I were only in elementary school at the time, and we would have to take turns quizzing her. After multiple attempts, like 7, she finally passed. I maintain that was in part to my mom just finally wearing down the test administrators for her to finally pass. But regardless, they showed me that women are made of the strongest things that you can imagine. They taught me how to be kind. They taught me compassion. They taught me how to stand up for myself. And one of the biggest lessons that has gotten me here today, they taught me how to be a leader. They taught me that leadership is about taking care of others, about the people and community around you, how to motivate people to work towards the common goal. All of those lessons have built the very core of who I am and how I conduct myself as a mom and a business leader. When my siblings and I started our family business, I came to understand a new appreciation for what it meant to be an American. The freedom to start your own business, create jobs, pay more taxes. This guy. Pay more taxes, that's always fun. But more importantly, the enduring spirit that is America. I've had the greatest honor to meet and work with so many incredible people. From the hardworking employees who helped build this company, to the loyal customers who continue to show their support even during a pandemic. And many of you out there today, I've had the pleasure of having meals with, sharing my story, hearing your stories, understanding what's important to people, shaping the core and the values that matters in this community has really touched me and made me who I am. When we were awarded the cannabis licenses, the medical cannabis licenses, I had to go up on the hill and start representing the company. Why me? Because none of my other brothers and sisters would do it. They all picked me. They said I was more social. I like to talk a lot, apparently, to them. So I went up on the hill. I started working with lawmakers to advocate for patients' rights, patients' accessibilities, and to come up with more common sense policy to help common sense policies for operators. This was so exciting and so thrilling. It put me right in the middle of democracy at work. After a while, I started to notice two things. First, there's not enough women up on the hill. Utah women only make up 26% of the current legislative body, whereas nationally, women make up 33% of legislative seats. That is still outrageously low. And second, there's not any families like mine. Refugees who have come to this country, who have different experiences of what it's like to live in this country. That story I shared a minute ago about my mom having a hard time passing the test, that was really hard for her. When I turned 18 and it was my turn to go take the citizenship test, I was in and out in less than 5 minutes. The different experiences that refugees and new Americans and immigrants have of living here in the United States, those stories matter, and they should be shared with legislatures so when they are crafting policies that are meant to support and help the people they're intended to help, they're better informed and they're more well-rounded policies. One of those big issues for me is education. Namely, our public education system here in Utah. The very education system that my family and I so heavily relied on and credit for getting us out of poverty. Here in Utah, from 2008 to 2022, we have only increased a mere $325 per pupil educational spending. That's it. When I was young, like I said, my siblings divvied up the responsibilities to take care of the younger ones. My brother Fong, who was only 7 years older than me, he was in charge of the 3 youngest kids' education. We were going to Riley Elementary out on the west side in Glendale there. We had a 6th grade teacher named Miss Floyd. Miss Floyd told my brother Fong, when your brothers and sisters graduate from elementary school, they cannot attend the junior high on the west side. You have to go get them special transfer to go to school on the east side. My brother, to his credit, only being in high school, had to go to the school district, navigate all the paperwork, get all of it filled out, and get the permission. And year after year, he made sure that each one of his siblings got to go to junior high on the east side. This was almost 30 years ago. Though education has improved, I will beg to say it has not improved enough. We can do better. It should not matter which side of the valley you live on, you should be able to access equal quality education. Thank you. The other issues that I feel that's dire and needs to be tackled sooner than later is our environment, the worsening air that we breathe, the lack of water that we so vitally need, and the growing population, where we've added 120,000 new people to the state of Utah since 2020. This growth, while great, if it's not managed, if it's not made affordable and accessible, it's not going to be good for our future, for our kids' future, to be able to afford to live here. When I'm out in the community in District 23, a lot of the people there are concerned about affordability, are concerned if their kids, their grandkids are going to be able to still afford to live on the East Bench, but let alone in Utah in general. I've had so many people who said they had to move out of Utah in the last little while because they just can't afford it. We can do better. We can do better. When I'm out, so many people ask me, why do I want to run? It's, like Senator Escamilla says, her and I have been friends for years. And it's not something that you just do on a whim. You have to be dedicated, you have to be motivated. For whatever stroke of luck that I had, I've had this fortune to be able to to have a seat at the table at some of those high-level conversations that shape policy that helps affect the state in Utah and moreover here in Salt Lake City. I always wonder, with my background, with where I come from, with where my family's come from, how many people are going to have that opportunity to be able to have that seat at the table, have their voice heard. Unfortunately, I don't think that many people. That's why I feel this deep, deep desire to go represent more women, represent more families like mine, represent more diversity up on the hill. That is why I am running to be the next representative of District 23 here in Salt Lake City. And I say Janessa keeps saying to me, stop saying if, but when I get elected, I will be the first Vietnamese American elected to the state legislature. And I will be the first refugee elected to a state house seat. I just want to take a quick minute to thank my family, my brothers and my sisters, my nieces and nephews, my in-laws, for their unconditional love through my whole life. Their faith in me, their patience with me, all of it. And I want to do a special thank you to my husband, Michael. I could not have asked for a better partner, a better husband, someone who just supports me and puts up with so many late nights and take care of our boys so that I can go do the work that I need to do. I love you and thank you so much. Thank you to all of you guys. I have to say thank you to a couple of the event sponsors today. Nicholas and Company, a great Utah-based company who provided all the plates and napkins and utensils here. Offside Apparel, who's done all of our t-shirts and hats. We've been with them for over 10 years. My dear friend, Chef Alberto Diaz, over at Feelings and Emotions, who provided the cookies. My dear friend, Councilwoman Ana Ramos, who provided empanadas today. Utah Creative Chamber, Changing Lanes Entertainment, General Distribution for the alcohol. Thanks so much. Okay, so